just right after the bust of 2001, dot-com bust of 2001, I realized that there are lots of people with lots of talent who are out of job and they would like to do something different. So I decided to take advantage of that pool of talent that's been sitting out. The first one was very interesting because I was just walking down the street, saw a guy was walking and looking around for lunch. So I asked if I could invite him to lunch. And he was kind of shocked, he didn't know who I was, and I didn't know who he was, but he didn't say no. So we just ended up going to a Chinese restaurant, and we had lunch, and I asked him, why is he out in the street instead of being at work? He said he was looking for work. So I told him, guess what? I'm doing the same thing. So let's just meet again next week here for lunch, and I'll bring some job leads for you. You bring some job leads for me, and also bring a friend. And I brought another friend, so there were 4 of us next week, and then 8 of us, and then just grew up like that. Mostly word of mouth. And before we knew it, we had about 100 people showing up for lunch. It used to be, a few years ago, it used to be about 5 to 7 a week through CSIX. After that, it became so huge that we kind of lost track of those numbers. Number one is your team of people. You have to be very selective. You have to have some dedicated people who are willing to help, and more importantly, they have the same thought process as you do. The other part is the communication. We used to have weekly meetings. Right after the main meeting, we'll sit down in a room and have volunteer weekly meetings. So how did it go? Look at all the things that went right and look at all the things that we could improve on. And we had to be open to ideas, not get upset, just be open to ideas, because lots of good ideas come. And it was amazing how we changed the process throughout this whole ordeal to make it to be what it is today, which now it's just like, it works by itself. We did not anticipate scaling to, instead of being few people, to thousands of people, which now had to be membership that we had. One of the hardest part, of course, is that to create the process. So even if Hamid is not here, even if the next person is not here, the system would work by itself without the main people being here. My last 2 jobs came from this organization. Once you just overcome some of those obstacles, you realize that if you have the passion and you have a goal and you have a team of people to help to work with, I think then the end result is very pleasant. If I knew what this is going to be at the time, probably yes, because I wasn't ready for this. We never went after funding. If I were to go back and do something, I would have started with a very aggressive funding requirement. Had we done that, we were in a position to hire some people to work for this organization and pay them, so we didn't have to worry about volunteers leaving. But we never did that. One thing is that you think that you can do it all by yourself. It's important to have the right team of people. Get some help, because there's always something that you're missing. And it's always good to have another set of eyes to look over your shoulder and say, how about this? And be open to other people's idea. You can always say no, but at least be open to consider other people's idea. And you'll be surprised how many good ideas come out of that. Think of give and take. That expression give and take is always coming. You have to give before you take. Be willing in your heart to say, if I see you, what can I do for you? How can I help this individual? Also the passion. The passion, what you believe in. My belief is that I want to help people. My belief is to network. My belief is just to make new friends. Okay, you can do that, and most of us can do that. Just being open to other people. A couple of requirements that I have put together for my organization, that in order to be a member, you have to attend a meeting. Many of our members end up going to some of the local companies, and the hiring manager of that companies, they come back and hire from us. These are big companies like Cisco's, Juniper Network, Twitter, Google, Facebook, many of those companies. What has happened, these people have told their HR people in those companies that, listen, such an organization exists and they don't charge you anything for hiring people. So now we have allies within those companies. And actually, I think that if I were to look carefully, it goes back to my parents. They were both people who wanted to help. And my dad, I remember him every time we drove on roads, saw a broken car, he stopped, he tried to help. So that always stayed. The pleasure that I could see from the personal reward that I could see that someone says, thank you, you saved my life, you saved my, that always stayed with me. That was a good example. I said, I like to do that. I like to do that. That's always good. And I can see that. And I think that my kids are picking that up also. They always, I can see them trying to do the same thing, even though it kind of seemed weird. They say, why are you stopping? Why are you talking to a stranger? But now they feel that they can do the same thing. Trying something totally out of the box, driving an 18-wheeler, riding motorcycles, flying small planes. That's a hard one. Don't know. Don't give up. Don't give up. Stay with your passion and continue. You can always get positive thing out of, even at the, from a worse advice, you can always get something positive out of that. Sit down with your family, talk about how your day was, and see the challenges that your kids have. I used to meet at the Chinese restaurant, which no longer is in business. I miss that. I love that place. When of course I met my wife, which is a total stranger, just met through a coincidence. That was very, very happy. And of course, birth of my both children. Those are the times that I had tears in my eyes.